Okay, I thought I would attempt to summarize kind of the conversational progress that has happened on Rebel Wisdom's Game B channel server. I've been participating there for, I guess, around 3 or 4 weeks. Although I've not been as active. Anyway, unnecessary details. So what is Game B? That I discover to be hard to define. To wrap up it into a principle, I think has not been done because there are too many reasons to not wrap it up into a principle currently. Too many directions it's trying to be aimed at. So I suppose I could use it's not a monolith model, it's a set of polyliths. No, a hinge. It's a hinge. Maybe it could be a polylith, actually. It could be a polylith. Anyway, so Game B is basically an attempt to get out of Game A. I think that's the most essential definition you can come up with, which predicates the whole system on what Game A is. So what is Game A? Game A is what humanity, for the most part, appears to engage in as a winner-take-all, every man for himself project, be it in economics, in politics, to a certain degree, even in relationships. People behave this way to a certain degree. So Game B is an attempt to, rather than live that way, to discover how we can all not merely live together in harmony, but how we can go beyond living in harmony to benefiting each other gladly. So the vision is something like, I want to make sure you have what you need to keep doing whatever awesome thing you are capable of doing. Maybe it's teaching children, maybe it's solving some fundamental equation of the universe, maybe it is art, maybe it is cooking, whatever it is the idea that we should all be looking for ways to ensure that we all can achieve our best, something like that, which is a beautiful vision. So the trouble is, how do we do it? How do we get everybody on board? The thing I seem to see most often spoke of, at least in the Discord channel, Rebel Wisdom Discord channel on Game B, is that you can't include people with a Game A mentality into a Game B society before they will game the system and turn it to their own influence. So you can't have, if you will, selfish people. I'm gonna jump to a different topic, slightly different topic, because it's one that makes perfect sense to me, but I still get people arguing on the server over it. I haven't quite discovered why, but I'll put this down here. To me, it seems to me that you can essentially sum up Game A and Game B into living viciously with vice or virtuously. Now here, I tend to like all definitions of virtue, which are not very helpful when I'm trying to talk to people about virtue, because it's hard for me to figure out how to make myself clear. I guess I should start just front-ending the word virtue. So a Game A individual might endeavor to use certainly Aristotelian virtue, maybe to a certain degree even Platonic virtue. I'm not going to try to define those right here. That's another topic. Aristotelian virtue has to do with how good you are at doing what you do, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I don't remember if Aristotle may actually include a type of ethics into the structure. I can't remember, honestly. Platonic virtue includes something like wisdom, and John Vervaeke speaks has a few episodes on that. But then there's also Christian virtue. So charity versus, I don't remember what the polar opposite of charity is. Love versus hate, I guess, but it's more like indifference, I think, really. Hate or rage is the opposite of patience. So, there's love, joy, peace, patience. There's that set of virtues. There's also, I'm not going to outline them. It's how we treat each other. And I have a theory about virtues and vices, which is, I haven't heard anybody else say this, but I'm sure there's somebody else out there that says this. It is the case that a virtue is something that does not directly aid an individual, but which, when you live in a society with a high degree of virtuous people, you are benefited. So a virtuous society is one where trust is more prevalent. It's easier to trust. And you cannot have flourishing economics without trust, because people will not participate in economics as readily. You have to go through all this rigmarole just to get your economics off the ground. Then there is, say, charity or love, aiding people. If you live in a society that upholds charity, then you're not likely to fall through the cracks and starve to death. You will be able to not only get food when you need it, but also find people willing to employ you and help you get a leg up. We have a difficult time with the charity of employment in our society, though we're quite good at the charity of making sure people are fed, which to me almost seems like a form of slavery. If you're not willing, if you're going to feed people but not give them employment because they don't have a job and you don't trust them, you don't have an economic incentive to trust them, or indeed a virtue incentive to trust them. Virtue as a social marker of status, almost. That guy employs the downtrodden, the unemployed, the homeless. That's a good guy. I want to work for him. I want to do business with him, etc. Anyway, I'm totally getting off topic. Although I do think it can relate to Game B. So that's the kind of virtue I'm talking about. And I think Game A, Game B can be structured as a completely and accurately aligned version of the virtues, while a completely inaccurately categorization of vices would align with Game B. Game A, sorry. That seems more than fair to me. I don't know. It seems to be the case that there are people that would disagree with that, or maybe they wouldn't disagree with it if they knew exactly what I meant. Seems like that's more likely. Or better yet, in our conversations over the topic, we would both find a third option that we agree with. There is much talk on the channel I'm on about of that one, about how psychology and can play into understanding Game A and Game B. I'm not going to try to summarize that right now, although it's really good stuff. So I probably should make a video of it if the friend who I know most summarizes that doesn't do it. I'll find out if he wants me to do it, or if he wants me to do it with him. Anyway, I think that's a pretty good summary. Is there any other topics we talk about that would... I bring up humility as a virtue, although there's some debate about how you measure it and stuff like that. I actually will point that group to Ian McGilchrist and John Vervaeke's most recent first discussion actually, on the topic of Master and His Emissary and the meaning crisis, as I think it accurately outlines some issues on this topic and includes the issue of humility near the end. Oh, no. They talk about wisdom. Shoot. Oh, well. It's a really good video. You ought to watch it. Humility is kind of like wisdom, though. You can't really define it. It's a process, not a point at which one arrives. Okay, I'm home, and I think this is a good enough video. Turned out better than I thought it would. Thank you.